What's up, Star Wars fans? Today, I want to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 5. Part 5 of this series has to be one of the best, with not just one, but two different lightsaber battles, where we have a young Anakin taking on Obi-Wan Kenobi in a sparring fight. We've certainly all been wanting a flashback to the Clone Wars, and we finally got one. But I gotta say, they could have done more to de-age Hayden Christensen, as he looks a little too old to be a Padawan, and in preparation for being Darth Vader, he certainly bulked up. That said, it was absolutely amazing to see Obi-Wan and Anakin back together, and I certainly hope we get to see more in Episode 6. I also loved how it was implied that Darth Vader was remembering the sparring session with Kenobi throughout Episode 5. That said, we get a scene where Reva is awarded the title of Grand Inquisitor by Darth Vader, and then we're back on Jabin, where it seems like they already know the Empire is coming for them, and they're trying to evacuate everyone from the facility. But unfortunately, with Leia's little droid acting as a tracking device and being controlled by Reva, the Imperials are on them before they know it, and Leia's little droid is actually used to lock down the facility. Now, in my preview video, I suggested that another Jedi might actually come to the aid of Kenobi and the people behind the path, and yeah, we did actually get Haga, the fake Jedi, so I suppose I wasn't completely wrong. That said, one of the highlights of this episode is the connection that we see between Kenobi and Anakin, aka Darth Vader. And when the Imperial forces arrive on Jabin, Kenobi knows right away that Vader is going to be impatient, just like Anakin was impatient, and that they're going to attack right away. And to further this connection, we get yet another flashback to the Clone Wars and Obi-Wan and Anakin's sparring session, where we get to see Anakin as a very powerful but impatient Padawan. And once again, we go directly from this flashback right to a scene with Vader, where again it looks like he's remembering this duel. That said, Reva personally leads the attack on Jabin, and just when it seems like the Imperials are going to break into the facility, Kenobi uses an old trick to delay and asks to talk to Reva. I couldn't help but be reminded of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars Clone Wars animation movie, where Kenobi uses a similar tactic, albeit at that point to greater effect. That said, there is a huge reveal here when Kenobi talks to Reva, and that is he senses through the Force that Reva actually wants to kill Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader. So unfortunately for Kenobi, at this point Reva uses her lightsaber in rage to open up the main doors of the facility, and stormtroopers and purge troopers attack. And unfortunately, the only way that the stormtroopers and Reva are halted in this attack is by Talos sacrificing herself in what I thought was a bit of an overdramatic scene. And at this point, we get another Clone Wars flashback, at which time Anakin is getting the upper hand in their sparring session, just like Vader definitely has the upper hand when it comes to this attack on Jabin. And I gotta say, I just love the parallels between this flashback and the present day action. But at this point, we get a bit of a shocker as Kenobi hands over his lightsaber to Haga and decides to surrender to the third sister. And during their meeting, Kenobi tries to convince her that this is her chance to take down Vader, that he will be so focused on Kenobi that she will have an opportunity to once and for all defeat him. And at this point, Vader arrives on Jabin, and Reva lets him know that Kenobi is secure in the facility, which is a complete lie, implying that she is going along with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And at this point, Leia is the hero. She's able to open up the overhead doors, allowing the civilians to load up on the transport and escape from Jabin. But in one of the most kick-ass moments of this series, Vader stops the transport from escaping, bringing it back down to the ground and pulling it apart with the Force. And it's at this point that we see a second transport actually escape, which thankfully is the transport that includes Leia, Kenobi, and all the civilians. And it's at this moment that we get that final flashback in which Kenobi does defeat Anakin during their sparring session in the Clone Wars. Again, the parallel between present day and that flashback is just amazing. And what else is amazing is at this point, Reva attacks Vader, and we get a showdown between her and Vader. Of course, she doesn't stand a chance against Vader and is defeated swiftly, at which time it's revealed that the Grand Inquisitor is alive, and that Vader knew that she wanted to kill him all along. That said, Reva does make one more discovery to leave this episode on a cliffhanger. We'll be talking more about that in my predictions video on Saturday morning. But hey, Star Wars fans, that's all the time I got for my review today. Let me know what you think of Part 5 in the comments below. I'm Mike, and as always, remember, the Force will be with you, always.